It's time we jump into the Twitter world of hashtag heroes and video vigilantes as the social justice warriors sound the alarm bells and mob beloved Harry Potter author JK Rowling for fighting for women's rights. Now radicals want to reintroduce Rowling to a new updated version of the Salem witch trials. And that is a great way to frame the fight for free will and women's rights. So sit back, relax, buckle up, grab your favorite cup of coffee, and get ready to enjoy. Now, let's begin. Welcome, Slayer Nation, to another episode of George the Giant Slayer. Hello, my name is George Molo, and today we're going to parachute into social media world's seething reaction about renowned children's author JK Rowling and her sharing her personal truth. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, share, and leave your thoughts about the video in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get an update every time we release a new video. Personal truth. You know, we've been hearing that term thrown around a lot lately, but it's been twisted and changed. It's now used as extortion language by a generation of millennials, celebrities, and everyday TikTok triads and Twitter gangsters. But what is personal truth? The ancient Greeks shared their answer on the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. They said, "Know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe." But for JK Rowling, an avowed liberal of liberals, she shared her personal truth about her unadulterated beliefs in biology and the consequences if we didn't follow the science. You know, it's crazy that today when someone follows the science, the other side goes absolutely batshit. You know, we've been preached at, lectured to, berated, shamed, humiliated, and browbeat to bow down and worship at the altar of the white lab-coated God of Science Incorporated. And when one of us does and we pull out a sheet from their holy scripture, the left all of a sudden starts seething and squealing, bursting a blood vessel ready to torch the independent mind who's decided to leave the course and sing their own song. The science about gender has been crystal clear. It's been clear for a long, long, long time. Now, if you happen to feel differently about it, that's okay. There's no judgment here. If you think it's all a bunch of hogwash, great. Good luck, God bless, and I wish you a long, healthy, happy, and prosperous, fruitful life. But feelings do not trump the reality of science.
I'm a girl. Could have just as easily been a boy, though, because the probability of becoming a girl is always 1 in 2. See, inside each of our cells are these things called chromosomes.
We had JK Rowling enter the Twitter biosphere this week. You know, that place which tragically many mistake for reality. She wanted to share the impacts of a radical agenda on women. It was simple enough. And regardless of what the left states about the author, she is unavowed and unconditionally supporting of all of their causes. Except for one thing. She has one simple caveat. She does not want women relegated back to the past of the Dark Ages as second-class citizens before feminism's hard-fought and won battles for equality and self-determination. Furthermore, she is also fighting to stop the resurrection of a modern and updated Salem witch trial, which has no other reason than to shame the powerless and cancel women who want nothing more than to have their voices heard, to stand up and be counted, and to be treated as equals. So, what happened? JK Rowling decided to share an article from the Times of London with a title which was called "Absurdity of Logging in Rapists as Women." She threw in a few quotes from George Orwell and then decided to throw in a tagline of her own. And it read, "War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength." And then her words, "The penised individual who raped you is a woman." Well, that's it. In one sentence, she summarized the damage that's being done to women, the dangers that they face in the world that sees every day to believe that a person's right to self-identify trumps all other human rights. You know, Rowling is not a conservative. She's not a moderate. She's not even a libertarian. She's actually an avowed hardcore leftist. She's literally one of them.
Are you ready? Light your torches and go!
She's learning now that anything born of extremism must adopt unconditionally the treason of reason and repeat the dogma word for word. Misspell a slogan, forget a pronoun, and all of a sudden you'll be cast into the shadows like the powerless and poor Mary Webster of Massachusetts during the Salem witch trials.
You have pled guilty to the practice of witchcraft, but such a plea is not sufficient to spare your life.
Do you know that woman endured 2 trials, once for possibly cursing cattle, and the other where she was almost executed because of the fact that her neighbor fell ill? See, in between 1692 and 1693, 200 people were investigated for being exposed to witchcraft, or being witches, or cutting a deal with the devil. 19 were executed, 5 men and 14 women. Could you imagine that? Their very first victim was a girl named Dorothy Good. A 4-year-old child was dragged into a jail cell and interrogated for a year because people thought that either her parents, worked in witchcraft, or she did. And anytime someone went to visit her, she'd cry or hiss or scream or shout. They said, aha, there's proof. She's a witch. She's working with Lucifer. No, she was just a frightened, terrified child who was scared to death. Those are the times that Rowling does not want to go back to. She is fighting so we do not create 2 classes of citizens, one in the fire and one holding the torch. So after she shared her tweet, what do you expect the left did? Well, of course, they went into hyperdrive, and they started enacting their battle plans to shame and humiliate and cancel her once again, just like they did last month when they excluded and exorcised Rowling from her very own 20th year anniversary celebration for the Harry Potter franchise. And to add insult to injury, you had Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint decide to throw mud at her in the papers. Could you imagine the gall of those 3? Where would they be without the Harry Potter author? You think they'd have these wealthy, star-studded careers? I doubt they'd even be qualified to be at a PTA meeting. It's like they've never heard of the words honor and loyalty. But that's Hollywood for you. So I want to share with you a perfect example of what Rowling is talking about when she says that women are being pushed aside and left behind, especially in competitive sports. Because over the last week, there's a video that's making the rounds of all social media platforms and every news site. It shows a transgender Pennsylvania University swimmer who has been annihilating the female competition and every member of the swim team. Now, the video is sad that I'm about to show you. Even the announcer is stunned at Thomas's 6'3" frame as the powerhouse swimmer annihilates and dominates all the female athletes, crushing every one of their athletic dreams for the future.
Leah Thomas, born Will Thomas, and the lefties have just gone a little too far with this one. Will Thomas is 6'3" strapping young man, and Will is done. And there's Will just sitting there waiting, hasn't exited the pool. Now let's listen to the crowd. The crowd knows the real winner. There you go.
You know what's even sadder than that? Is that the female team members had to speak anonymously to Outkick magazine in order not to draw the ire of the hard left. But worse, even worse than that, is they had to remain nameless, so they didn't draw the fire of their head coach, Mike Noor. Think about that. The head coach is proud as a peach at racking up all the wins with his new champion swimmer. He doesn't concern himself if it's bothering any of the teammates, if it's having an impact on their lives, as long as he's filling his trophy case with medals and he's bringing accolades and possibly money to the university. That's it. Nothing else matters. Like Rowling, I have a line in the sand. It's absolutely drawn when it comes to defending women and children. I'll never break that. But I also have a live and let live philosophy. Whatever you do in your life is private, and that's exactly your right to do. It's your private affair. My philosophy is simple. Be your best self, live your best life, shine in the sun, while never infringing on other people's rights or lives, all while doing no harm. And if someone were to attack you because you think something differently, or they think that you're different, I will stand toe to toe with you, shoulder to shoulder, to defend your rights as a human being. Period. But when you hear some of the girls' words from their statements, it's discouraging. It's downright depressing. One of their statements that they were talking about all their teammates goes like this. They're so discouraged. No matter how much work they put in, they know they're going to lose. That's what they told the paper. To top it off, they later shared some of Thomas's backstage boasting at a November competition when the athlete was gloating, stating, "That was so easy, I was just cruising." Later stating, "Well, at least I'm still number one in the country." What do you think about that? But that is the reason that JK Rowling has decided to step up and stand tall and fight for real equality for all women. She is a force to be reckoned with. Is she controversial? Absolutely. Do I agree with everything she says? Absolutely not. Especially, I disagree with her politics, her alt-left, social, economic, and intersexual ideology. But I have to tip my hat to her. Someone who decides to stand in the breach and take a torrent of criticism and take the incoming swarm from all those beehive beta males and those Marxist marauders who are hell-bent on reshaping the world by seeding anger in order to harvest hate. Well, I have to respect her. And that leads us right into the good news. As we've already covered, Rowling is in the ring and she's not going anywhere. Well, Dave Chappelle, he's still fighting and he's still standing, and he brought Netflix along with him. They discovered that their atrophied muscles, after a little exercise, they actually function and work. And they decided to back Chappelle in another comedy special at the Hollywood Bowl. So those three right there, think about where we were a year ago. Do you think they would have done that a year ago? Rowling on one hand, yes. Chappelle, yes. Netflix, I doubt it. They're becoming the new voices in the wilderness who refuse to back down. And what does that tell us? That the more you share your beliefs, the stronger you become. Because in a time of personal truth, honesty is always the first victim to fall prey to the worst kind of violence, the lie. Think about that. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe, share, and leave your thoughts about the video in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get an update every time we release a new video. And remember, never bow down, never bend the knee. Firmly, defiant, step up, stand tall, and get busy living your best life now. Always forward.